Good morning. Good morning, kids. How's everybody doing this lovely Tuesday morning? Welcome to another episode of The Abyss. I am, of course, your host, The Eternal Abyss. I hope everybody's doing all right. I hope everybody has their coffee. I've got mine. I hope I sound okay. I still haven't resolved the mic issue. And I'm sorry I'm late. Well, I'm sorry for missing the stream yesterday, first of all. I had a lot of stuff that I was dealing with yesterday, and streaming wasn't going to get in there, unfortunately. Today I was running late because I'm trying something a little new. And you'll find out exactly what it is here when I am going to do my usual greeting to all the different platforms that I am streaming on. I want to say hello to everybody on YouTube. I want to say hello to everybody on Periscope. I want to say hello to everybody on DLive. I want to say hello to everybody on Bitwave, of course. And I want to say hello to everybody on Twitch. But I also want to say hello to everybody on Coat. I don't know if many are familiar with that. It was suggested here in chat and Bitwave specifically to go onto this Coat. Float. I'm sorry, not Coat. What am I saying? Hello to everybody on Float. Flote. Great way to do an introduction to a platform that I want to completely screw up the name. Nailed it. All right. That's how we do a professional show here. Oh, yeah. High quality production values, ladies and gentlemen. No doubts. Oh, boy. Yeah, see, you can tell I haven't had my coffee yet. Hey, Chill Wave. Hey, Trolio Illustrator. Sweet Nectar. Oh, yes. Calms the shakes. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Float. I'm streaming on there for the first time. I'm doing a weird setup to do that because I refuse to pay Restream. So I have two instances of OBS running. I have OBS and I have Streamlabs version of it, and Streamlabs is going to Float. This is the rest of my stuff is going to my usual stream. So there may be some weird disconnect. I don't know how well this is going to work. We're going to just try it out and go from there. I don't know. We're just going to play along and see if this works for now, cuz eventually I probably will just add another custom destination, quote unquote, as they put it. So, goodness me, what is happening in the news? All sorts of crazy stuff. 1 second. Let me get my microphone stand here, because I'm just holding the microphone up to my face right now. That's not super effective. There we go. All right. Hopefully, this will work. There was a lot of violence over the weekend. And that is definitely something that we're going to have to address. Because it's been ramping up for quite a while. This isn't something... Well, let me explain what happened first. Then I can kind of go into my little spiel about that whole thing. So, you have outright just violent attacks against Trump supporters now. You had that before. You had that with hold on, let me turn my main down. You had that before with people just stealing MAGA hats off of people and physically assaulting them, verbally assaulting them. You had that's not new. Okay. Float is full of Antifa people. Really? I haven't seen any of that so far. If I buy Wirecast, what is that? I haven't looked too much into like well, I mean I kind of looked into wire streaming, not wire streaming. I into multi-streaming at one point. That's a software. Oh, cool. Starting at 5.99. Holy cannoli. That's a little bit on the expensive side, my friends. Wow, but yeah, that's a little out of my budget right now. There's other stuff that I'd rather spend that money on if I'm gonna spend $600 on something. Unless there's some alternative source. Excuse me. Uh, coffee. Morning, morning, Trolio. So here's the thing, though. The thing about the violence against not only Trump supporters, but this violence in general, this has been something that has been encouraged and incited and pushed and not condemned since Trump even was running as president. He wasn't even president yet. And up until now, nobody has said a thing on the left. Nobody's condemned it. Nobody has said, we should really, not have this violence. We really need to keep it under control. If you want to protest, it has to be peaceful. Blah blah blah. You have Chris Cuomo saying, "Who said? Show me where it says that protests have to be peaceful," which is actually in the Constitution. And obviously, this man has never read it. They have end of year sales and a 30-day demo. Okay, well, maybe this maybe towards the end of this year I may upgrade to something like that because right now this is really a janky kind of setup that I have right now. That is possible, Trolio, but I think the bigger issue is that this is something that has been encouraged for years. This is not something that's just this violence has not just sprung up out of nowhere. It didn't just poof into existence. This thing started years ago. And it's been escalating, and it's been escalating, and it's been escalating. And the media is complicit because you have, like I was mentioning, Chris Cuomo saying things like that. Where does it say that protests have to be peaceful? You have, well, you can be rowdy. Yeah, I mean, a protest can be very animated. It can be vocal. You can have signs. You can have music. You can do all sorts of stuff. But you don't need to kill people. You don't need to attack people. You don't need to destroy property. You don't need to destroy people's livelihoods. You don't need to set shit on fire. You don't need to loot and steal. Okay? This is what the problem is. These are not protests. They call them protests, but they are not protests. That is true, Trollio. Protests don't have to be peaceful, but you only have a right to peaceful protest. That is true. But the point is this, is that this has been encouraged. This isn't something where people are saying, you know what, fine, you wanna show your disapproval for something, go ahead, do so. Yeah, ruckus is okay, but burning down CVS isn't. Exactly. You know, so And then you have politicians encouraging violence. You have Ayanna Pressley saying that they got to keep doing these violence in the streets. You have Pelosi calling for calling the opposition the enemy of the state. You have Tlaib acting violent, and nobody's condemning her violence. And she's, insulting the president and calling his supporters racist and encouraging violence as well. I mean, it gets to the point here where people need to be held accountable. Okay? People need to be held accountable for their words and their actions. I'm not the type of person that says, you have to have a, sanctioned speech. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a thought police individual. But under the Constitution itself, inciting violence is not protected. You can't go out on the street, point at a person and say, punch that dude in the face. Or go in the street and look and see a group of Asians and go, hey, look at those groups of Asians. Let's kick their ass. Or in this case, you can't go and say, look at all those people with the MAGA hats. Let's kill them. You can't do that. That is what I mean about consequences to actions. And there are consequences to actions. Trump supporters are fighting back. In Portland, I believe it was in Portland, there were clashes between Trump supporters and Antifa, which Antifa is just a terrorist organization. And so is Black Lives Matter. I'm not afraid to say that because it is what it is. Their charter on their website makes it very clear what they stand for. And I can't post I usually post all my stream links while I'm streaming onto all my platforms, and it's not working on Float. So that's already disappointing me. Don't quote that. Don't quote that. It was an example. I was not calling for any sort of action against Trump supporters. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Keith Ellison holding a book of the Antifa handbook. That guy should be removed from office. Mayor Ted Wheeler, who let his city burn for 90 days, the mayor of Portland, refusing assistance, causing direct harm to his own constituency and his city. He should be removed from office and arrested. Well, Illustrator, I was trying to be a bit more politically correct than that. That's all. I was trying to not use racial epithets. But anyways, the point is this. The point is this. There have been many protests in the United States. Burn the CVS's, but keep the Starbucks. Hey, I like that E.abyss. It gives me a little bit more class. Makes it sound, like I'm an actual intellectual or something like that. I can't put Esquire at the end because I'm not an attorney, but that would be actually even funnier. I'm gonna need a Kleenex here, so I'm gonna bring my microphone with me for a second. So, but basically, that's what it boils down to. Is like you've had protests on different sides. You had the Tea Party, for example. The Tea Party, they didn't do any sort of violence. And they were out in numbers. Just like what you see with Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me 1 second. Yes, I enjoy blowing my nose with Kleenex brand handkerchiefs. TE Abyss OBGYN. um, interesting choice of title, sir. Oh my goodness. Um, that's quite the interesting choice. I know. Hey, I'll drop names if they sponsor me. Why not? I wouldn't be opposed to that. Wait, need to adjust my microphone here. Okay, there we go. It's too low. It's causing me to slouch. I don't like that. So, but just going back to what we were talking about, really, the thing is this: the right has done protests in the past. They even showed up at the Capitol in Michigan, for example, toting guns in a display. But there was no violence. Nobody got hurt. Hey, Super Susie, welcome to the stream. I gotta do the little greet here properly. There we go. um, so there's been protests on both sides, but it's always one side that does more violence. What's this? It's a mega upload thing. What is that? My connection, since I'm streaming on with two different pieces of software, my connection is really not behaving. So you're gonna have to tell me what that is. Well, I think, well, you touch on something very important there, Illustrator. I think the problem is that when you have groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter, it isn't about protesting. It isn't about, oh, the police violence. It isn't about this or it isn't about that. It's really about, um, it's really about tearing down the community and the country that they live in. Well, social media definitely amplifies their point of view. That is true. Social media is a bad echo chamber. It definitely is a bad echo chamber, and um I think that between the echo chamber, encouragement from politicians and encouragement from the media. I mean, you had Jerry Nadler saying Antifa didn't exist. When there are cells of Antifa, people calling themselves Antifa. Jay Baker is the individual that got killed, the Trump supporter that got killed by Antifa, by this guy. This guy calls himself 100% Antifa. There was a guy who called himself Antifa that shut up an ICE facility because AOC was encouraging violence. This is the problem here. This is the issue that we have. The issue that we have is these people are actively working against capitalism, against the country, against our government, against Americans, against the concept of what it means to be an American. They want to destroy Western civilization and Western culture because everything is racist, everything is sexist, everything is discriminatory, everything is bigoted. I mean, listen to like that Anita what's her face from Gamergate. That's what they say. Yeah, it's the ultimate bad guess. It's like going to a party, saying you're not having fun, and refusing to leave, and then setting the whole place on fire. Basically, this party sucks. Boom. No, this is solely in the hands of the left. People can say, well, this is happening under Trump's watch. Okay, you know what? Fine, it is happening under Trump's watch. I'm not denying that. But who are the ones denying the administration from assisting and stopping all this? Because whenever the National Guard has been deployed, all this stuff stops. And when you have AGs from different areas of the United States where they actually prosecute these people that are committing acts instead of just catching them and then releasing them again, like this guy that killed the Trump supporter, they caught him and they released him again, and then he kills someone. I think every mayor that's in charge of the city that has burned to the ground, that has caused death, like Jenny Durkin of the Chaz Association here, the Summer of Love mayor, she should be run out of town. As should Ted Wheeler. As should the jerk from what's his name, Jeremy whatever from Minneapolis. Yeah, it's these mayors' backyard. It's these governors' backyard. And the thing is this, the federal government can't step in because we're not a dictatorship. They have to request for the National Guard to come in. This is the thing. This is the thing that's most ironic. They've been calling Trump Hitler. They've been calling him a despot. They've been calling him a dictator. And then they say that he's not, he's responsible for all this. But all he's been doing is following the laws. He's been following the laws because he's not just coming in with military and paratroopers. Oh, stop. Stop, redhead. I don't radicalize anybody. I rationalize. I don't radicalize, I rationalize. Oh yeah, let's get into COVID now again as well. Oh yeah, tar and feathering should come back, I think. That would be just be fun to see. I mean, yeah. Hey, that's good. I think that's gonna be my tagline from now on. I don't radicalize, I rationalize. Play the clip. What clip? I don't think I can hear. Well, hold on. Can I even hear what's going on with this thing? Let me make sure that my audio is set up properly here because I have it muted, I think. Yep, there we go. I don't hear anything. 1 second. 1 second. Let's see what's going on. I gotta see where that. Oh, really? You're gonna do that? This computer, I swear, hates me. This computer hates me. What is this? Okay. Look at all those people with the MAGA hats. Let's kill them. Damn you people! That's taken out of context. That's taken out of context. Oh God. Yep. All right. Well, I walked into that one. All right. Anyways, moving on. But yeah, it's high time. It's high time that that elected officials are held responsible for their actions. Because this is having like actual really bad consequences now. I mean, it's helping Trump in the sense that in the polls, Trump's numbers are going up while Biden's are going down, which is the ironic thing because this is the funny thing. Up until recently, there has been no condemnation from the left, from the Democrats, nothing when it comes to this violence. What do we got here? I don't think my connection can handle this. I need to figure out a better streaming solution to include floats because my connection is really, really wobbling right now. This isn't good. Does it seem stable to you guys? Is the stream stable? You don't have a clip of that yet? Well, oh well. But anyways, what was I saying? I got completely thrown off my train of thought here. Oh yeah. So until recently, the guy King will help you. Okay. Well, I'm more than happy to have any sort of assistance when coming to this sort of thing because I'm not a professional production person here. I can tell you, there's definitely room for improvement. So I like the idea of having just one piece of software like that one Wirestream, something like that. But I would need to do something that's more within a friendly budget right now because that price tag ain't happening at this point in time. Negatory. Unless I get a lot of donations and a lot of support, which hey, great opportunity for some shameless self promotion. If you enjoy listening to the stream and you enjoy listening to me ramble and enjoy hearing me lose my train of thought and dealing with technical difficulties, please consider donating at streamlabs.com/the eternal abyss. I actually do have an Ethereum address now. I can accept cryptocurrency. Yeah, but then after 30 days, then what? I gotta sign up again with another email address. Do they actually like track IP? Because some software they'll track your IP address or your MAC address on your device. So I can only install it once, even if I use different accounts. Because I could do that. I mean, I have the capability of creating as many email addresses as I want. Not that I do that with software. I disavow that. I say support software developers. But just saying. Uh, but anyways, as I was saying, support me if you can, great. But the best kind of support you can give me though is increasing my audience size. If you can help me by following, by subscribing, by hitting the notification bell, by sharing. That's the best thing you can do on all my platforms: Twitter, Gab, Minds, Parlor, Float, um, what else? Periscope, D Live, YouTube, Bitwave, Twitch, all those platforms. If you can help me with all those platforms, that's fantastic. Follow, 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 share, 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 grow, grow, grow. That's the best thing you can do for me. More so than a monetary donation, though I will not sneeze at a monetary donation. But going back into what I was talking about, um, it's high time that it's high time that Elected officials are held accountable. Rules need to be changed and updated for that. This is not anything new as well. This isn't something that's only recent in the 20th century. Okay, this is not something that is recent to only this last decade. My chat is stuck in my OBS layout. What's going on? Oh, yeah, looks like it's stuck. What is going on with Bitwave chat? Let's see. If I can find it. I have way too much crap here in my scenes. That's not it. Here we go. One second. There we go. Great place to, reinsert my chat, huh? Anyways. You guys are going to get me so banned from one of these platforms. I just know it. This isn't anything particularly new. And you know what? If you stand by for a moment, I want to read something. I have to get the book, and I want to read something to you guys. But I'm going to have to step away here from the stream for a moment to do that. So let me see if I can put on some something here. 1 second. Thanks for the clearing of the chat. Much appreciated. Yeah, especially if they go to that link. I'm not even see. I have a rule generally that I don't click stuff from Bitwave. It's served me well over the years, especially the terms of service link. Though, if you're new to Bitwave, you got to click on the terms of service link. I encourage others to do so, but I don't do it. Mini modular? What? Is that some music that he's put together? Oh man, this thing is so slow. Yeah, I can't be running 2 instances of OBS. This is not functioning. I'll have to check that out later. But as I was saying, let me do something here real quick, because I read this. I read this yesterday or 2 days ago. It's just me posting about bashing it. Yeah. Let me get this situated here. I'm gonna put some elevator music here, sort of. So I will be right back. So please stand by. I think I found it here. I'm gonna read you something first. I'm gonna read this, and then I'll tell you what it is. Whoops, hold on. There we go. Transition. There. Okay. They prefer that, is that right, Illustrator? If you say so. All right. I'm gonna try and remove any specific names from what I'm reading because the most important thing isn't so much the name, because if I reveal what the name is, then it'll kind of show. It'll kind of ruin the point that I'm trying to make, I think. So I'm gonna try and see what I can do here in reading this. So bear with me. I may not show my supreme reading skills right now, so bear with me. So what do we have here? We have in our own grievous affliction, there is one lesson which those who directly address public opinion would do well to consider. Party malignity in the free states during the war has not scrupled to defame the character of, let's leave the name blank for now. He has been denounced as a despot, as a usurper. I need better light. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to hold my microphone in my hand because I need better light for reading this. So he's been denounced as a despot, as an usurper, as a man who arbitrarily annulled the Constitution, as a magistrate under whose administration all the securities of liberty, property, and even life were deliberately disregarded and imperiled. Political hostility has been inflamed into hate by the assertion that he was responsible for the war, and that he had opened all the yawning graves and tumbled the bloody victims in. This has been done directly and indirectly, openly and cunningly, in a time of necessarily profound and painful excitement, to carry a party point. The political opponents of, we'll leave it blank, have said or insinuated or implied. I think my volume is a little too loud. Or implied that he has superseded the laws and has made himself an autocrat. If any dangerous plot has been exposed, these organs of public opinion had sneered at it as an invention of the administration. If theaters and hotels full of men, women, and children were to be wantonly fired, the friends of the administration were accused of cooking up an excitement. If bloody riots and massacres occurred, they were extenuated and called risings of the people, as if in justifiable vengeance, and as if the oppression of the government had brought them upon itself. The appeal has been made in various ways and in different degrees. A great convention intimated that there was danger that the elections would be overborne by administration bayonets. Judge Comstock, formerly of the Court of Appeals in the state, addressing a crowd in Union Square, declared that if a candidate for the presidency should be defrauded of his election by military interference, he would be borne into the White House by the hands of the people. Of the administration thus accused of the basest conceivable crimes, blank was the head. If there were a military despotism in the country, as was declared, he was the despot. If there were a tyranny, he was the tyrant. Is it surprising that somebody should have believed all this? That somebody should have said, if there is tyranny, it cannot be very criminal to slay the tyrant. And that working himself up into the due frenzy, he should strike the blow. And I'm going to pause right here. I'm going to give you chat, let's play a little game here. Who do you think this was talking about? This excerpt that I just read you. This was from an actual publication. And I will tell you when this was published. Can you not hear me, Mom Patch? Hi, Mom Patch, by the way. Hello, hello. Is the stream not working? Tell you what, guys. Hey, everybody on Float. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to end the stream on Float because it seems like it's just not working well. It's the connection is not holding up here very well, so I'm gonna have to pause it on Float. I'm really sorry. Join me on bitwave.tv or dlive.tv, Periscope, YouTube, or Twitch for now. Sorry about that. We'll talk to you later. They're on Float. We'll try and work it out to make it all be better on Float. But the stream is not ending on any other platform right now. So people on Float, we're ending the stream right now for you guys. Thanks. And check out the rest of it on the other platforms. There we go. Oh, no, everything was fine. I had pauses while I was reading this excerpt. So, what do you guys think? Who do you think this little excerpt was about? I'm curious to see what you guys think. Because when I read that, it was pretty clear in my mind. I mean, I knew who this was about, but it sounded very much like what's happening right now, right? Don't you think? I think so. Excuse me. I'm gonna get a sip of my coffee here while you guys. Excuse me. Coffee. So anybody care to take a guess at who do you think this was talking about? Can you guys hear me? Illustrator says I sound fine, so I'm assuming that everything is good with the stream. You need the Jeopardy music. Do 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 do. I can provide it myself. Oh, no problem, Mom Patch. Yeah, today is September 1st. That is true. Happy September 1st to everybody. I can't believe it's September already. Good God. This year has gone by like really crazy. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I can reread it. It's not a long thing. I figured there might be some technical difficulties there. Let me reread it for you guys. Hold on. I have to find the page. Here we go. Okay, I'll reread this because I do want you guys to hear this because it's really, as I was saying before, this is from a book. I'm gonna remove the name of the main subject of this book because I want you just to hear the main discussion about this. So as I was saying, I may not show my great supreme reader skills in doing so, but bear with me. And we're gonna read it one more time. I want to read it one more time because there was some technical difficulties. It was buffering in some places. So let's do this. Let's do this right. Okay. So here we go. In our own grievous affliction, there is one lesson which those who directly address public opinion would do well to consider. Party malignity in the free states during the war has not scrupled to defame the character of blank. He has been denounced as a despot, as a usurper, as a man who arbitrarily annulled the Constitution, as a magistrate under whose administration all the securities of liberty, property, and even life were deliberately disregarded and imperiled. Political hostility has been inflamed into hate by the assertion that he was responsible for the war, and that he had opened all the yawning graves and tumbled the bloody victims in. This has been done directly and indirectly, openly and cunningly, in a time of necessarily profound and painful excitement to carry a party point. The political opponents of blank have said or insinuated or implied that he had superseded the laws and had made himself an autocrat. If any dangerous plot has been exposed, those organs of public opinion had sneered at it as an invention of the administration. If theaters and hotels full of men, women, and children were to be wantonly fired, the friends of the administration were accused of cooking up an excitement. If bloody riots and massacres occurred, they were extenuated and called risings of the people, as if in justifiable vengeance, and as if the oppression of the government had brought them upon itself. This appeal has been made in various ways and in different degrees. A great convention intimated that there was danger that the election would be overborne by administration bayonets. Judge Comstock, formerly of the Court of Appeals in this state, addressing a crowd in Union Square, declared that if a candidate for the presidency should be defrauded of his election by military interference, he would be borne into the White House by the hands of the people. Of the administration thus accused of the basest conceivable crimes, blank was the head. If there were a military despotism in the country, as was declared, he was the despot. If there were a tyranny, he was the tyrant. Is it surprising that somebody would have believed all this? That somebody should have said, if there is a tyranny, it cannot be very criminal to slay the tyrant, and that working himself up to the due frenzy, he should strike the blow? There we go. I hope that came through clearly this time and there wasn't any interruptions with buffering and streaming issues and things of that nature. So what do you guys think? Who do you think that's talking about? I'm curious to see like what you guys think about that. Who do you think that's referring to? I actually gave a clue in there because I actually did drop one name if you're familiar with certain figures. That's right, Trolio. You win. This was about Lincoln. This is from the book Killing Lincoln from Bill O'Reilly. But doesn't it sound very much what's happening now? Doesn't it sound like everything they're accusing Trump of? Doesn't it sound eerily familiar? When I read this, when I saw this, the first thing I thought of was, holy crap. This is not going to end well if this keeps going. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about, the incitement that is happening on the left. This is why I call the Democrats a domestic terrorist organization as well. And this was in the 1800s. This was over 100 years ago. That's true, Trolio. Political rhetoric doesn't change much, apparently. It seems like nobody learned the lessons from the days of Lincoln. Nobody looks at history. And history is going to be doomed to repeat itself. There are people that are calling for the assassination of Trump and such, which is horrible. As much as I did not like Obama, never, ever, ever did it cross my mind to incite violence against the administration, his supporters. Never. Hey, dispatch. How you doing? Never. Ever, ever, ever. I never once thought about inciting violence against them. I'm not sure what the average IQ in the U.S. is. It's not, to me, it's not so much even a matter of IQ. Bad? Oh, that's not good. I mean, by definition, but I mean, I mean, what's going on, man? Having some technical issues? PC going down? Oh, that's not good. But yeah, this is something that it just really, I was taken aback when I read this because it just amazed me. It amazed me that this sort of stuff that happened back in the days of Lincoln, which ended up in his assassination, mind you, because you had a crazy nut like John Wilkes Booth who ended up actually acting on this. And he thought he was going to be hailed a hero. He thought he was going to be raised in the annals of history and say as a savior instead of for just the murderous lunatic that he was. Oh, geez, dispatch, that just sounds terrible. You had a liquid cooling system in there? And that's when people lived here and loved America, yeah. It was a completely different time, yet the politics seems to be all the same. So I hope, I know I don't have a large audience, but I do hope that people read this. It's a really good book, actually. I would recommend it. Whether you like Bill O'Reilly or not, that's irrelevant. I mean, the book itself is very good. Very, very good. It's a very compelling read. Um, it's really, really, it's well written in the sense that it really puts you in the timeline as things are happening. It's kind of like watching a movie because it's written in such a manner that you're like there, and it's building up and building up, and it's really good. So I just say that all I want to say in regards to all this violence that's happening, the last thing I want to say actually about all this violence that's happening, because I spent basically the entire stream talking about this, is we can do better. Tearing down the entire system isn't going to resolve anything. It's actually going to make things worse. More people are going to get hurt. More people are going to die. And these organizations need to be called out for what they are. And they need to be dealt with for what they are. Antifa is a terrorist organization. They need to be dealt in such a fashion. Freeze all their assets. Arrest all these people. I say relax. Don't do it. Relax. Don't do it. But as I was saying, Antifa needs to be treated for the domestic terrorist organization that they are. All assets need to be frozen, and all the money that has been poured into them, the people giving money, they also need to be prosecuted. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna have you guys clip me saying weird stuff. Black Lives Matter, their whole charter. If you go to their website, I mean, you don't need to take my word for it. Go to their website and look at their whole charter and what they believe. They want to tear down the nuclear family, Western culture. They want to destroy capitalism. They are Marxists. They are trained Marxists. They said so themselves. These people are terrorist organizations as well. I'm not talking about, people like to make the distinction between the Black Lives Matter as a movement versus the organization. Whatever. Because there's the association with the organization, the Black Lives Matter movement is tainted. That's really what it boils down to. No matter how noble the Black Lives Matter movement is, it is now tainted because the Black Lives Matter organization is a Marxist, violent terrorist organization. That association is there and will always be there. And so the message is lost. The messaging is lost. Any positive that could come out of that, in my opinion, is lost because you have an association with a violent group. Black Lives Matter should also be treated for what they are. Their assets should be frozen. People supporting them, giving money to them, they should also be prosecuted. Including politicians. Politicians that bail out people, violent people, they should be prosecuted as well. Well, if there were groups of Nazis killing people and you had celebrities giving them money, yes, I feel exactly that. I would say the same thing about Nazis and violent right extremists. Absolutely. This isn't just a left versus right thing. This is a law-abiding constitutional thing versus a non-law-abiding unconstitutional thing. If you're an organization whose main goal is the destruction of Western culture, capitalism, you're trying to take down the government. Yeah, the word Nazi has been corrupted. I think it's been way overused. Yeah, but the thing about like Kyle Rittenhouse, and I will talk about him too because of these violent things that have been going on. Kyle Rittenhouse, there's no evidence that he was associated with anything remotely group-wise, in terms of he was not associated with any white supremacist group. He was not associated with anything online. The guy basically just was a 17-year-old kid. He was just out there he was cleaning up graffiti. And you don't have people on the right going out on the street wreaking havoc. Now you start having Trump supporters fight back against these crazed leftists because they're directly trying to defend themselves as in retaliation for what's happened here. But even in that scenario, they haven't, like in this last video, I saw a video where things were thrown at trucks. of Trump supporters, and then the people in the trucks drove through the crowds, kinda, and was spraying them with pepper spray. There weren't any fatalities or anything like that, just injuries. But they didn't even attack first. At least from the video I saw, it didn't seem like they attacked first. They were attacked, and then they retaliated. So the point is, like, the left are very much the aggressors in this situation. They're very much the aggressors in this situation, and it's unfortunate because they don't need to do this. They really don't need to do this. Yeah, the press and politicians only say it's a problem when people fight back or defend themselves. Kyle Rittenhouse, if that kid had not shot back, he would have been dead. The guy had pulled a handgun out and he had pointed it at the kid's head. And I don't know how that kid pulled off the shots that blew the guy's arm, basically, that saved his life. And he shot the other guy. He had 3 people pursuing him. He was running away, and he was knocked to the ground, and he defended himself. It's a clear case of self-defense. So the media can spin it however they want. But the video itself shows clearly what happened. Okay? But the problem with everything today is that everything is a narrative. Everything is a political point. Everything has to be one side or the other. If Cannon hit it, maybe. Yeah, nobody talks about Cannon Hinnants. Yeah, the small child that got killed. Nobody talks about him. Nobody puts his name on jerseys or on helmets. I am utterly disgusted with the NFL. Let's put the name of a rapist. Let's put the name of a rapist on the helmet because he was shot. Really? That's what you're gonna do? All you football players that do that, I'm gonna make a statement right now. All you football players that put names of rapists and criminals on your helmets and glorify the lowlifes of society as victims, you are scum. Okay? You are scum. Imagine being the victim of that guy. Imagine being the victim of that guy that raped you. And seeing a football player, someone who earns millions of dollars, has zero consequence to his actions, essentially, put the name of a rapist on his helmet and, quote, solidarity. To the NFL and every football player and all sports in general, fuck you. Okay? Fuck you big time. I am utterly disgusted with the NFL. I want to see the NFL and the Major League Baseball and the NBA. I want them to be utterly decimated when it comes to viewership. I invite everyone to shut those games off. Don't give them views. Don't buy season tickets. Don't buy any tickets. Don't buy memorabilia. Don't buy anything. Don't give them one rotten cent. They don't deserve it. They're disgusting. Yes, absolutely, Illustrator. The only thing that they deserve, the only thing that the NFL deserves is contempt. That's the only thing they deserve is contempt. In my opinion. It infuriates me. It infuriates me to see these people that take all this money from fans, and they're in that position only because they have been milking their fans and overcharging them too, by the way. Because a lot of those tickets are not worth the price, in my opinion. So not only have they been overcharging and fleecing their fans, they're taking all this money from their fans, and then what they're turning around and just, you know, hawking a great giant big loogie in their face. So they can clearly go just fuck themselves, in my opinion. I don't like using this language, but this is one of those few exceptions where it just really pisses me off. A fool and his money, absolutely, yeah. But going back to what I was saying, everything is political. Everything is political. Everything has to be partisan. Everything has to be a political talking point. Everything has to be an agenda. I mean, just look at all this COVID stuff that's been happening. And I'm probably going to get some sort of now thing because I'm going to talk about COVID, so I might get my video removed from YouTube again. They removed the video. I appealed it. They never even replied. They never even replied to me. YouTube removed one of the videos because I was talking about COVID. And you know what? Screw you, YouTube. I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to tell the facts about it, whether you like it or not. And I have other platforms that my videos are on, so it may be disappearing from your platform, but it's going to be on the internet forever. But anyways, as I was saying, there's this whole new report that came out that the CDC made some changes to their website talking about the actual numbers of COVID deaths. They made their numbers more accurate, so to speak. And it was done relatively quietly. I mean, there's some arguments there. Some people are saying that it wasn't really done quietly. They weren't trying to be sneaky. But at the same time, they didn't make any major announcement about it. They kept it kind of on the down low. They just made the update, and that was it. No big deal. So the Gateway Pundit put an article out about this, saying that the CDC quietly changed the numbers. And it shows some interesting data here. And CNN, of course, they're like, oh, fact check. This is false. This isn't true. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is the whole premise of the Gateway articles, the Gateway Pundit's article. CDC changes numbers. It shows that the number of people that actually died from COVID alone is minuscule. 94% of deaths of all the deaths that occurred, 94% of them, all the people had underlying conditions. So what does that mean? That means that COVID itself, just the virus going to someone and killing them that had no underlying condition whatsoever, it is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Only 6% of all deaths, essentially, are related to just COVID. Everything else, people had underlying conditions. They were obese. They had and not even just one underlying condition, mind you. They had multiple underlying conditions. So this very much shows that this virus really isn't as deadly as everybody was portraying it to be. This whole shutdown may not have been entirely necessary to begin with. Now, I'm not saying that it's not deadly. I'm not saying that it's not virulent. It's absolutely virulent. It's very easy to catch, it seems. People with underlying conditions are at a greater risk. Like, I'm not saying anything that contradicts what the CDC has said so far. I'm going exactly what the CDC is saying, YouTube. Okay? But it does make you think. It does make you think, and it's hilarious that in CNN's rebuttal saying this is false, they actually admit that the article is right. They're saying, oh, yeah, you know, the numbers of deaths that are related to COVID only is 6%, and the rest is 94%, and the Gateway Pundit's article is technically correct, but they were arguing semantics. Yes, which means Cuomo killed a high percentage of people with underlying conditions. Absolutely. Totally avoidable. Totally avoidable. But the point is this. Yeah, the media is saying that the 6% is spun wrong, is interpreted incorrectly. That's not the case because this is what it boils down to. If you have an underlying condition, you get COVID, obviously you're at higher risk of dying. Of course. No denying that. But if you're a healthy individual, you don't really have any underlying condition, you catch this, 99.9% of the time, you pretty much are going to just get over it. There have been many people that have gotten COVID, were asymptomatic, and then they got over it. So then the question is this: well, if that's the case from the very beginning, were all these closures necessary? The answer is no. Because there's another thing, which now the new head of this what's his face? Trump appointed a new person here. I had this up because I wanted to talk about this. What's his name? What's his name? Where are you? Dang nabbit. Shoot, maybe it's in my bookmarks. Hold on, let me check real quick here because I had gotten his name. Ah, I can't find it now. Dang it. Shoot, I hate when that happens. I always put some stuff aside because I know I want to talk about it and then it just disappears. It's really frustrating to me. Anyways, there's a new person that was appointed, like I think in one of the high positions there, that's pushing for herd immunity, and the administration is pushing for herd immunity. Now, for those that may not be familiar with what that is, it is basically a way of. Oops, 1 second, I mistyped something here. It is essentially a method of dealing with outbreaks where if you have a highly virulent virus or malady that a lot of people can catch, you essentially allow for the healthy portion of your population that can take the virus and survive it no problem uh, to catch it. So they develop an immunity, and it's basically a natural way of getting antibodies and getting an immunity to the virus instead of going through a vaccine. Like a vaccine is an artificial way of doing it. You don't need to catch it to get the antibodies with with a vaccine because a vaccine will just essentially give you the disease, but it'll be not in theory it's not harmful, and you get the immunity. Yeah, basically, it's the chicken pox episode of South Park, in a certain way, yeah. But that's the thing. Now, when you have a virus like COVID, COVID is a very virulent virus, no doubt about that. It's very easy to catch. You're gonna have a portion of the population which already, as you can, even without this change in numbers that the CDC said, like even if you don't consider that, and you look at just the total deaths versus people that recover, the death rate is very small in the United States. So, being that it's very small, this herd immunity method of making sure people get over it and we can reopen, and the healthy people, even if they catch it, it's like a normal flu in the sense that they catch it, they get over it, there's no real ill effects. Uh, if you have underlying conditions, like if you have obesity, if you have a thyroid, if you have hormone issues, if you have heart conditions, if you have other diseases, then a vaccine makes more sense for you, obviously, because you're at higher risk. You don't want to just catch the virus in the wild, so to speak. And the Washington Post labels that as controversial. There's nothing controversial about it. This was used with the Spanish flu, with influenza. They did that back then, and people got over the Spanish flu, and we moved on, and the country didn't need to shut down indefinitely. You didn't need people like Biden saying if he becomes president, he's going to shut down the entire country. That guy's insane. First of all, I don't even think that he has the authority of doing that, but if he was president. But let's say he did, that's insane. You're going to destroy the economy. Irreparably destroy the economy if you do something like that. That's really what it boils down to. And these people want to claim they follow science. These people want to say that they are the party of science. Well, if you're the party of science, why don't you look into this as it was used before over 100 years? This is a tried and true method of dealing with pandemics. If your population, if this malady and your population can work in a way that it can be absorbed essentially into your population without it decimating half of your population, it may be worth looking into. And I think it may be worth looking into for those people, of course, that are not high-risk individuals. I think there needs to be a method of determining who are high-risk and not high-risk, which we already kind of know. Yeah, science used to say that Haitians caused AIDS. That's true. That's true. So science isn't the end-all, be-all of everything, huh? So, but what it boils down to is this. If people really want to resolve this, they would explore all options instead of playing politics with it. Whether you agree or not with vaccines, whether you agree or not with herd immunity, whether you agree or not with hydroxychloroquine, whether you agree or not with other ways of trying to help people, medications and treatments and things of that nature, whether you agree or not, that's irrelevant. If you were truly someone of science, if you were truly caring about people's well-being, you would say, well, okay, you know what? This is a terrible virus that we're facing. This is a terrible pandemic that we're facing. This is something that can kill people that are vulnerable, or especially people with other conditions are especially vulnerable. Let's look at all of our options here. Let's look at every single option. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can develop a cocktail. Let's see if we can get a vaccine going as quickly as possible, which the administration has been doing. I don't think it's unreasonable. To say, well, let's look at this option. If the numbers justify this sort of thing, we can have a more surgical approach. We can open certain things. People that are more vulnerable would stay closed. People that have to stay home would stay home and work from home. People that can go back to the office can go back to the office. Instead of everybody being freaked out over this thing, there could be a systematic reopening that would essentially create an immunity to this thing, so COVID wouldn't even be an issue anymore. It would turn into nothing. It would turn into just another flu if people actually approached it with an open mind. But like I'm saying, I'm not saying anything contradictory here to what the CDC has been saying. Well, no, they don't want it to reopen, especially up until the election. After election, I don't think they care. Well, they probably still care. They still want the economy to not do well because they know that that's Trump's strong point. I mean, you had Bill Maher say so. He's like, the best thing that could happen, if we have another recession. That's what Bill Maher wanted. And I'm sure other Democrats wanted that too, because they thought that was the only way to hurt Trump, So they're happy that the economy is not going as well as it could be because of the virus. Well, no, but they'll have to try and control in a different way. Once this virus thing is situated, because this virus thing will not last forever. I promise you. This whole COVID thing is temporary. Yeah, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, these countries are really in bad shape when it comes to how controlling their governments are. Well, I think I don't know about failure being sustainable because only failure is sustainable. I do feel that it's much easier to always have a problem to run on as a politician. If things go well, it's hard for a politician to justify getting elected and getting power because if a politician gets on his stump and starts saying, our economy is great. Our schools are fantastic. Our military is in tip-top shape. We have world peace. Elect me and things won't change. I mean, that's the best that they can do. That's the best that they can do in that sort of situation. But like, and this is the thing, like all this amazing stuff that's happening in the world is just being ignored by the media. It's being ignored by the left. It's being ignored by politicians. For example, did you know at all that there was the first flight ever from Israel to the United Arab Emirates? Did you know that that happened? That's historic. That is historic. And there's only a blip, a mention, a passing comment. That's it. So, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. And you have people like the Los Angeles Times, for example, that all they're doing is they're playing politics with their articles. All that's all they're doing. Because they won't admit, for example, here like where is it? I saw one let me look. I did put in my bookmarks if I'm not mistaken. I mean, look at this historical stuff. You have breaking news yesterday. Hamas announces deal to end escalation with Israel. Hamas! Hamas is de escalating. They're working towards peace. A terrorist organization. Okay? Israel UAE flight for the first time. You have countries that want to go into this, negotiating peace deal in the Middle East. This is unheard of. Yet nobody cares. And then there's other things. For example, the Washington Times reports Trump's black voters' approval rating rose by 60% during the RNC. Harris poll shows Trump's approval with black voters rose to 24%, up 9%. I mean, it's amazing here. And then after the DNC, like all these conventions, what these conventions are supposed to do generally is supposed to bump your numbers up. They did not do so for Biden nor Harris. They went down. Trump's numbers instead went up. Michigan, for example, Trump is like a point or two ahead in the polls. There's some other states, key states, Trump is bumping ahead, or it's a tie now, and he's on the. If there's this graph that I saw, I don't know if I still have it up here, but there was a graph where Biden's approval, like not approval, but Biden's polls are in this big downward curve, and Trump's are in this big upward curve, and they're soon to meet. I mean, the trends are what they are. They're not going to switch around on the dime. So It seems like there's a good chance that Trump's polls are going to keep going up and Biden's are going to keep going down. And right now with all this absentee ballot crap and the mail-in ballot crap and all this stuff that there's all this fraud that's going to be tried to be perpetrated here. There really needs to be a focus on making sure this election is done correctly and properly. And I do hope that the administration really addresses this. They really need to focus on this because this election can be stolen from them like that. They really need to be focused on this. And one more thing that I wanted to mention here that I saw in the news is an interesting news article here that this is from the Los Angeles Times that a new national newscast is taking on CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. This channel called WGN America. They are hoping to establish itself as a cable news network with the launch of News Nation, a primetime newscast that the company says will deliver unbiased reporting. I find it first of all strange. That the Los Angeles Times would tout this as unbiased. I don't know what their definition of unbiased is. So I'm already suspicious at that. It is curious to see that a channel would start doing that and then they're going to try and expand it to more than just one broadcast and maybe turn it eventually in the future into a 24-hour news organization where they'll take on organizations like Fox News and MSNBC and CNN. And it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see if they're able to pull this off and be unbiased. I have my doubts. I really have my doubts because from the pictures that I can see, there's a picture here that just shows like they went through diversity training. Apparently, they have every group represented here in the newscasting table on the desk. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just I find it very funny that their focus is, well, we got to have a woman, we got to have a guy, we have to have an African American, we have to have a Hispanic. I don't see an Asian though, so they just got the boot apparently. But the point is, apparently they don't care about the Asians at WGN. Gore warning. Uh-oh. Should I click that? Oh no! Oh, poor computer. Aw. I don't know. That's a good question, Dispatch. I'm not sure if they have any Jewish people on there. They probably do. But the point is, it's listen. I'm gonna be fair. I applaud the effort. I think it's a great idea that a fresh new organization can come in and say, you know what, we're going to try and be unbiased. We're going to try and do a newscast that doesn't lean one way or the other. We're just going to try and stick to the facts. Wonderful. That's fantastic. I'm not trying to crap on their parade. I'm really not. I just have my doubts because many news organizations have claimed to be unbiased and it's very difficult to do so. It might be a pander. That is true, Dispatch. I think that's a way of just saying, "Hey, watch us." It's a way to get viewership, and it may work for a while. Yeah, I think that well, they may have a um noble spirit about this sort of thing. They may have noble intentions, but the problem is in practice, how is that going to work? Will they be able to do that? Will they be able to just lay out facts without putting any sort of spin or not? And that's what it boils down to. And you know what? Hey, I say go for it. Let's see if they actually can pull that off. Let's see how unbiased they can be. And I think it would be fantastic if they actually can be somewhat factual and somewhat unbiased. I don't think they're going to able to remove all bias, but I think it's a great idea. Well, I that's an interesting point. Dispatch is saying I prefer to attribute malice, makes it more fun. But you know what? There's this saying. I can't remember who said this. I always forget who says this, but there's this saying that says, "Do not attribute to malice what could easily be explained away with stupidity." It's one of my favorite quotes. I use that a lot. Um, so we'll see what happens. Let's see if these people are smart enough and able enough to keep their biases in check and to keep their own opinions in check if they just report the news. I would actually love to see this and check it out and see. I have my doubts. No, I don't think it was Mao. It wasn't Mao. It was some other dude. Let's see if I can find it. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna do a quick search. Let's see. Um, it's called Hanlon's Razor. Robert J. Hanlon. Apparently, he's the guy who said this, or at least it's attributed to him. And it's never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. Known in several other forms, it is a philosophical razor which suggests a way of eliminating unlikely explanations for human behavior. Similar statements have been recorded since at least the 18th century. It is probably named after Robert J. Hanlon, a person who submitted the idea to a joke book. So that's what I'm saying. It's attributed to him. I don't know if it's necessarily him. There are some earlier attributions or variations on it that apparently go at least back to the 18th century, but like one in 1774 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, or I guess I'm mispronouncing that, where his way of saying it was misunderstandings and lethargy perhaps produce more wrong in the world than deceit and malice do. At least the latter two are certainly rarer. So there's different things about this, but it's attributed to Robert J. Hanlon for the most part, I think. Um. So yeah. Yes, it's Hanlon's razor. I love that quote though. Um. Heinlein. That's how it's pronounced. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Do you think Lord Kyle will speak at the next RNC? Lord Kyle who? The guy, the Rittenhouse, or Kyle Keshev? I don't know. I don't know exactly who you're referring to, Zani. I'm not entirely sure who you're referring to on that. Um. Well, I do know, like with Kyle Rittenhouse, for example. Yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy's being defended by the same attorney that defended Nick Sandmann against CNN. That quote also should serve as a warning that stupidity will be incorrectly taken as malice at times. Yeah, Dispatch, that's true. A lot of times, and that's where I a lot of times use that when people tell me like, why, this person did this and blah blah, and I'm like, and I tell them that, you may attribute malice to their motives, but most of the time it's probably just their stupidity, or they just lack of consideration or something. It may not necessarily be malice. But there are clear times when people do act in malicious ways, and their intentions are malicious. Obviously, I mean that happens. There's nothing wrong about that. It's pretty clear cut sometimes, actually, very clear cut. So, very clear. 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 Cut. So, what it boils down to here with this stream, I think we're gonna be concluding it now. I've been at it for let's see, almost 2 hours now, an hour and 49 minutes. I think we're good to conclude here. Today was what Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. Okay. Um, I don't know if I agree with that dispatch. I don't know if stupidity can therefore be used as a cover of malice because it's pretty clear when someone acts in a way that is intentional, in the sense that the if I damage your property, it's not so much stupidity that can act as a cover for that. If I intentionally go out of my way because I want to damage your property for one reason or the other, there's malice involved in that. I think there can be a combination of the two. I think lack of intelligence, lack of critical thinking, being persuaded by people, and malicious intent because you're taught to hate someone or taught to justify malicious acts. It can be used for that manner, I think. But anyways, I think we're gonna conclude the stream right here. I want to thank everybody for watching. Actually, before I leave, let me just take a quick look to see if there's anything else that I want to mention in the news here. Really? Biden-Harris campaign launches Animal Crossing yard signs. Wow. How absolutely retarded. How absolutely retarded. See, this is the thing that I hate. This is the thing that I hate about these people in politics in general, that they have to inject politics into freaking everything. Now I had thought about checking out this game. Fuck this game. I'm never going to do Animal Crossing. Screw it. The fact that the developers would allow this shit in there, nope, not happening. I'm not going to play this garbage game. I don't know. I don't know about that dispatch. Puppet interim CEOs used as fall guys for unfavorable policy decisions as malice hidden by stupidity in choosing the wrong CEO. I don't know about that. I think that there is a lot of more nuance to that, because a wrong CEO can be chosen, and the guy could have like everybody could have good intentions in trying to choose the CEO. The policies can turn out to be garbage. The people involved can turn out to be garbage. But that doesn't necessarily mean it was stupidity. It just means that it was a bad choice. I mean, you can just make a bad decision. That has nothing to do with malice nor stupidity. It can just be a bad choice. People make bad calls, and there isn't necessarily stupidity or malice behind it. Yeah, I mean, there is that scenario that you described. Sure, I'm sure that happens. Oh, I don't doubt that. I'm just speaking in general, though. It's not always. That's not always the case. But yeah, that can happen for sure. But you have people that there's different reasonings behind why people do what they do, and unfortunately, unfortunately, some people are malicious, and it's unfortunate. And you have people that are willing to cross lines, willing to hurt people. So I don't know. But anyways, I think that we're at a good point here. Of concluding the stream. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I'm gonna put up the Ethereum. Uh, Actually, let me ask this before I go. In order to do that, you just have to put the Ethereum, like the public thing, the number that they gave me. I said I didn't know if that happens. Well, I don't know. I think in some cases it may. I just don't think generally speaking that's the norm. Is all I'm saying. I think that there are various reasons why that sort of scenario can happen, where you get a bad CEO, they make bad policy decisions. That there's different reasonings behind it, and some of the motives behind it can be, as you described, some can be just bad calls. That's all I'm saying. But um, let's see here. I'm going to try and look this thing up real quick. Okay. I don't know why my password isn't working. I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyways, I had an Ethereum address there that I can put up in my description. So if people want to also donate via cryptocurrency, you can do that. Um, so I'm gonna try and implement that as soon as possible here, because I do have it set up for that now. So we're going to conclude the stream. I want to thank everybody for watching. Remember, please support me in any way you can, especially with follows and growth. That's really the biggest thing that you can do for me, is just follow, share, grow my network, and grow my followers, because Twitter is stripping people away from my followers. YouTube is removing my videos. The more support I get, the more views I get, the better it is. So that's one thing that I ask. And I'm going to conclude the stream as I usually do, kids. Um, because it has to be said, especially now. This is a critical election that we have. It is very critical. Don't be complacent. I mean, right now, this is a key election. And complacency is the last thing that has to be happening right now. Get out there, talk to people. I'll give you some homework. Go out there and talk to at least 5 people and try to get them to register to vote and vote conservative, vote for Trump. Because what Biden wants to do to America and his followers is more of all this destruction that you're seeing. The only reason they're condemning violence now is because it's hurting them in the polls. Remember that. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. No matter what else they say, the only time they cared about the violence and people getting killed, and police getting killed, and black people getting killed, and minorities getting killed, the only time they cared about it, about trying to prevent it, was when their polls were hurting. So go out there. Don't be complacent. Do what you need to do. Thanks, and have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning around 10 a.m. ish. Have a great day.